Just about 2 weeks ago, I went to Texas, to the border.
Thank you.
Went to El Paso, and what I saw was just stunning.
Yeah.
There is a crisis at the southern border. New numbers this week from the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol shows that more than 109,000 migrants were detained at the southern border last month. This is the second consecutive month that border arrests exceeded 100,000. President Trump weighed in on the border crisis at his Florida rally this week. Here's what he said.
This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion. I was badly criticized for using the word invasion. It's an invasion. And it's also an invasion of drugs coming in from Mexico, okay? They have drug dens and drug labs and factories right along the border. They make the crap right there, and they send it over our border where we don't have walls. They drive it right through because we have 2,000 miles between the Gulf and the Pacific, 2,000 miles.
Congressman, what was really stunning to me was all of the children that I witnessed. And the children were, in some cases it was fake families because there's this whole renting of children thing going on in El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala. People renting their kids so that people can look like families coming over the border, and then they send the kids back and they do it all over again. But isn't it up to you and your colleagues in Congress to make a change to some of the loopholes that is really enabling all of this?
Well, Maria, first of all, thank you for going to the border and taking the time to do that. Too many people, particularly who are reporting on business, too often the Chamber of Commerce crowd in New York is more interested in the cheap labor than sovereignty and securing our border. So thank you for seeing that, seeing what's happening. 136 pounds of dangerous fentanyl has come across our border this fiscal year alone. Cartels are operating and managing our border. We've got children that are being used and being recycled. They're recycling children as pawns in a dangerous game where we're having narcotics and people being profiting cartels at our border. So we need to change that. Congress needs to act, but it's something that the Democrats aren't interested in doing. They're not interested in securing the border. But you know what? The bureaucrats at the Department of Homeland Security need to get out of the way of the president as well. There are a bunch of things they could do. We need to secure the border right now. We need to make sure our Border Patrol can be asylum officers, make asylum inquiries right at the border, and stop letting cartels exploit our asylum laws for profit against our sovereignty and well-being.
Well, how come it's not being done so far, Congressman? I mean, things like the asylum standards, that's a loophole, right? I mean, the things that, like that we can't hold families for more than 20 days. That's another loophole. All of these things are in Congress's hands, nobody else.
Well, I would agree and disagree. You ask why they're not happening. They're not happening because Nancy Pelosi does not care about the children and the women being exploited. Let me repeat that. Yeah. She doesn't care. She wants the political issue, and she's ignoring the danger that's happening to women and children. The president wants to fix it. Pelosi won't do it, and the bureaucrats at the deep state of the Department of Homeland Security are blocking the will of the president, and they should stop it right now.
That's incredible. I guess it's up to the electorate.
The people will keep standing up and demanding border security, and they're not going to allow MS-13 and cartels to invade their communities. And the president's right to raise this issue, and Democrats need to get out of the way, and so do the bureaucrats.
Well, it is a serious issue. I agree with you.
I want to say this, though. It makes all of those Democrats who were screaming to the high heavens and wringing their hands about the separation of families at the border by this administration last year, it really does show you they don't care about the mothers and the children who are coming over the border, because they won't do anything to help with this, what is clearly a humanitarian crisis and a burden on all those border communities and states.
Yeah, and how come we don't hear anything about DACA anymore? Because they want to save it so that it's a political issue going into 2020. It's absurd.
No question about
it. And everybody in this country should be upset by this. Get something done already. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.
Chip Roy joining us there from Texas.